issue, this Spider-Man issue, 42, Legacy 996. So we're getting really close to the 1,000th issue of ASM, and we're getting really close to the new Spider-Man Brand New Day movie, which, if your comic shop doesn't have the free poster, I don't know why you're going to that comic shop. I'm just kidding. Support comic shops. But with all of that stuff happening, I kind of wanted to discuss my thoughts on the current Spider-Man run, because people have a lot of opinions about it, and I just kind of hopped in during this latest run. I think it was during the start of 8 Deaths of Spider-Man that I got into the series. Started reading comic books because of the new Absolute DC stuff that was coming out, and a friend of mine had introduced me to it, and I kind of stuck with it, whereas they did not stick with it. It kind of consumed me, and Spider-Man's always been my favorite hero. I didn't read the comics when I was a kid, but I watched a lot of YouTube videos about the comics. I know the lore, I've seen all the movies. I have a stake in this game. I do think in the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man and in the run where he goes up to space, things do get a little more fantastical and corny. I think that's kind of where a lot of people are at with it. I think people love Spider-Man the most when he's on the ground in New York, taking care of the little guy. Maybe there's a challenge that's just a little bit bigger than he's used to, and he really has to push himself to get it done. Spider-Man is not our fantastical hero. He's not rich like Iron Man. He's not a superhuman like Captain America. He is the street level guy. He's relatable. He's broke. He's short. The classic, everybody wants to be Spider-Man, but nobody wants to be Peter Parker. And I think that's kind of where the comics have been going wrong in recent years, is they're really fantastical. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing, but I just don't think that it's what most Spider-Man fans are drawn to Spider-Man for. That's why I'm especially happy that with the movies, they're kind of getting away from the whole Doctor Strange thing and more into the street level fighting thing again. And don't get me wrong, I love Doctor Strange, and I think Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and Iron Man and Spider-Man together, it's all cool and everything. It's been too long since we've seen a live action Spider-Man just do his own thing, and since we've seen a comic book Spider-Man kind of just do his own thing. Right now we're getting closer, but he's still hanging out with all of those space characters, who I'm kind of blanking on their names right now. But what I will say is the space woman, her name might be Ray, she is starting to grow on me. In this most recent issue, I actually found myself kind of caught up in my feelings again, which Spider-Man has a tendency to do, but hasn't done recently. A lot of people are upset that Aunt May randomly has a son now. And yeah, it does kind of feel like they're just trying to throw in this crazy plot twist. But at the same time, I think the struggle that it's causing for Peter is really interesting. Because he's having this mental breakdown where he thought he was May's son. For all intensive purposes, Peter Parker was May's son. And then the biological son just pops out of nowhere, and everything that he has known for his entire life, even though it's an authentic relationship with May, it still feels like a lie. I find that the story is full of substance right now. The whole thing with the Death Spiral series, I forgot the dude's name, but I thought that was really fascinating, the way that he had this urge in his brain to go through the genetic line of people and kill everybody, and I think his power was to be able to tell who was related to who. I don't know, but regardless, it was really interesting. And then this new villain RX, who can take sickness from one person, take sickness and disease from one and pass it on to another. That's really cool too. And then back to Rey, I want to touch on it. She had some quotes in this last book that just like really hit the Spider-Man spirit. So RX is going to fight Spider-Man. So then Rey jumps in and he's like, how are you standing? I just pumped you full up. And she's like, pain? Yes, but it's my friend's pain and I can carry it until he is ready to carry it by himself. Also, by the end of the book, I thought it was really cool. You have Peter and Rey kind of cuddling at home and discussing everything that happened, and then you get a shot of Tombstone burying the Shocker gauntlets, which is what Peter had referenced. So it's almost like Peter's having influence on even his biggest villains by leading by example. And then Rey also says, Peter, my life before this was only moments of pain interrupted by worse pain. Such is the lot of the wretched, but with that came a lesson I hope you can learn. Pain will always pass, but only if you let it go. Do you understand? And then Peter says, I'll try to, promise. And it's just, I don't know. We haven't had Spider-Man tugging at our heartstrings for a long time. There have been moments where he's definitely tried to. The writers have tried to tug at our heartstrings, but it just hasn't felt super authentic. This story, I don't know. I'm on board. I'm also on board with Spider-Man Brand New Day. This comic book that they put out recently wasn't the greatest thing, but it did have some good stories in it, and it's definitely worth $10. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you want to talk about Spider-Man, comment down below because, yeah, I'm obsessed just like you probably are if you're still here. Okay, I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.